Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Kurzquest, where we are covering and continue to do so going forward the ETF2L Nations Cup number 7. Today we have a little bit of a double header, one after another, starting right now with France and the Ukraine heading it out in Group G, and we will continue staying in Group G for later on with Romania and Ireland for the second round 2 game. With me here on production is Wiethoofd, and on the mic, eepily.
How's it going? You having fun?
Really good. How much did you catch of the Nations Cup yet? I know not everybody can pay too much attention all the time. It's kind of a little bit of fun competition, but like the one fun competition everybody still wants to win.
Yeah, I think it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, it's just a kind of thing where it's like, everyone kind of fakes that bit of like patriotism, but then deep down you actually really want your team to win. I've caught a couple games like here and there, but there's been a lot going on, but kind of looking forward to this game. I'm thinking, like we were saying a little bit before the cast, I'm thinking this is looking like a good French roster. Like, Ukraine's a bit of a kind of a mishmash of whatever kind of players they could get together from the looks of it, but France is like damn near the top 5 you know and love, really.
Yeah, they come into this whole cup in general as one of the favorites, winner of year before that, last Nations Cup for Sixers. And since then, it's like largely the same roster, except the French scene has made so many new Prem-ish level players that they have just so many more options now than then. It is just like kind of incredible, but it had to be said, it still took them, despite the scoreline, a little bit more work than I expected it to be against Romania. So let's see against the Ukraine how much they can improve that going forward.
Yeah, I said definitely in terms of like some of the Ukrainian players, as much as I would put my kind of favoritism a little bit more towards France, they do seem to have, some more of the kind of power players like, your Elikors and your Korbaks and those kind of guys. Ukraine isn't entirely lacking. You've got some significant players. You've got DuMmTm, who is a pretty kind of a regular kind of high towards Prem player. I think he's played a bunch of medic towards Prem, definitely. We've seen good things of him on demo, and even Wiethoofd was saying sniper and all that kind of crazy stuff. We have always got, a bit of a wild card when it comes to the Ukrainian side of Boshi, in which anyone who knows anything about Boshi would know he's an absolutely nuts jumper. And, you put that boy on soldier or demo, or even sometimes on scout, he can make stuff happen. There's definitely some wild cards there on the Ukrainian side.
Yeah, for sure. All of them make some moves here and there in different diffs. It's still gonna be tough for them. France currently has all 6 of them on the server, and we see Nebo, Korbak, Neo, Elikor, Omberg, and Olga, so looking pretty strong there. And that's been something that I've been looking forward to for a little while there, since like last season or so, namely Nebo and Neo on the same server, just because it's gonna be confusing.
It is. I'll be honest. If I slightly trip over my own words and say Neo instead of Nevo, let's just all assume that I got it whichever the correct way was, and just kind of pretend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And just as I wanted to say, all the Ukrainians are here. One disconnected from the server already, so not quite. But so far here are Boshi, Ehor, Detold, Marissa, and Narkari. That's a few names I remember, and looks pretty interesting. They currently don't have a medic on the server, so I assume that's what they're missing. Speaking of missing a medic, that's what France was missing last game against Romania. Raf had to step in on medic and did alright, but with now their staple medic Ombrek back, I assume a bit more stability in that regard.
Yeah, I said from the looks of it, this is basically as good of a roster as you'd really expect. I mean, the only thing which I'd maybe change in terms of France's roster would be maybe Olga out and then Medico in on Soldier. But, Ombrak, Medic, Olga and Korbak on Soldier, Neo and Nevo on Scout, Elikor on Demo. This is basically as good as a roster as France can really put out there. Like I said, maybe Medico would be like one real kind of difference, but these are all basically as good as that nation has on these different classes. So I think they're bringing out the big guns. Clearly, they had enough people around today. They want to win this game.
Yeah, they don't want to mess around. They don't want to even. They are not finished first, and they don't have to play against this first seed in round of 16. Ukraine will have to stand against the last person connected. It is Slowtown who joined.
Slowtown.
And with that, we go live here.
Yeah, we do. Going to go into this very first mid of this Nations Cup game, Ukraine versus France on CP process. We're going to watch a little bit of the rollout, see if anyone's going to be doing anything particularly fancy. Little bit kind of a classic in terms of demos, but we do have DuMmTm sniping straight to mid, so Let's see whether Ukraine plays a little bit slower here, see if France can really react to that, but those shots coming out in big, deep bombs coming from both the French soldiers, getting some good damage out there, and actually Ukraine's getting completely caught towards choke. They're going to be really, really lucky to get out alive here. Slowtown, yep, dies right at the end there, and now suddenly it's only Boshi, Ihor, and DuMmTm desperately trying to get out, but Ombrak's still got to be aware of this sniper.
That was a strange mid. They played intentionally with a sniper, and you would expect eventually to play slow and careful, but they had like 2 scouts right side, everybody else just waiting left, and the scouts are just completely left alone to get destroyed by all the France together on the high ground. And after that, it was no problem too aggressive to choke for France. So just a little bit of mistakes being made around the sniper class for a mid fight, and it's get punished really greatly here. Ombrak now with his Uber into last will have the opportunity to push this rather quickly.
Yeah, so we're going to have this heavy on the side of Ukraine. Uber comes straight in through 3, getting a big deep bomb from both Demo and Soldier, getting some good damage, free kill on Ihor and this heavy, so now France can just play a little bit slower. They know they have this gun to spam down, but they don't really have to rush things. They know Slowtown's going to be nowhere near this Uber playing the point, and as much as it's going to be loads of damage exchange on point, this should be going all the way of France, clearing up these last couple of frags. That's it. First round in only 1 minute 30 seconds.
Yeah, that is about as good timers as you can get without like intentional throwing on the other side. So France looking mighty strong, really clean push into last, like you mentioned. Just priorities were there. First left side, get what's there. Slow things down, just spam the gun, play point, and let them come your way instead of making the moves yourself, and worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it's definitely France kind of playing, you know, playing as if they are an actual team, which kind of makes a lot of sense. We do see early damage towards Ihor. Not going to make a great big deal of difference, but again, DuMmTm sniper to see if he can hit some kind of shot, but unfortunately the first pick goes the way of France, and Ukraine will kind of manage to equal it up, but they're just caught all towards choke. They're taking so much damage in this choke point, like the Demo's going down as well, and again, it just seems like it's so heavy of a commit around this DuMmTm sniper, and he's not really hitting enough shots to make it worth it.
Yeah, that's kind of the strange part here. They know the caliber of play that DuMmTm sniper can bring, but they don't have the rest that's supporting him too well, and off the back of that, neither side here of the team on the Ukrainian side can get much done at all for the mid-fight. This time, however, they realize it much sooner, able to cut down their losses here, but France doesn't stop. Corbeck gets the first kill onto the sniper and rollout, and with that, Duck gets left open, everybody can move in freely. Wants some more. Marissa dodges one alive, but can't escape. Ihor as well, taken down by Neo, and gets one too.
This is absolutely disastrous from the side of Ukraine. It just seems like they just backed so far. Like, they're even now having to use an Ombrak is just absolutely nowhere near to even get forced. Eventually, it will end up with a trade, but their Uber's so much better. They have so many more players. It just seems like Ukraine are getting absolutely slaughtered right now with the Toad on Pyro. As long as they can take him down right at the very end, not really going to matter. Yeah. Second round, really. I mean, I don't know about you, DuMmTm, but like Ukraine backing so far on the second, like they had the Uber. It felt like they could have traded, but they were just so scared.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a consequence of how the mid-fights are going. They can't get anything stabilized at all, lose space so quickly that they just don't feel confident anywhere else on the map. Now they're switching it up. Sniper hasn't really done too much quite yet, so DuMmTm back on Solly.
Yes, I definitely agree with that decision. Boshi going nice and fast, denying that pack from the side of Eloquor, so we'll need a bit of an early arrow, but we are finally going to see our kind of 6v6 standard kind of mid. Ukraine taking a lot of damage on the left-hand side, immediately losing 2 picks, and we actually see a short stop on the side of Olga, so I think after those quick frags, Ukraine's going to be looking to back up again, and as much as Nakari's going to have to go down pretty quick, denying his ability to do anything too much. Yep, we do see a deep bomb from Eloquor in, immediately hitting a sticky. He will get taken down by Boshi, but again, it just seems like Ukraine's going to have to back up on this second point.
What a big wrap around by Corbeck. Almost got the DuMmTm sniping out of spawn, gets the kill before his medic will lose his life.
Yeah, I think definitely at this point, France seems to be playing, you know, they got that early couple rounds, they seem to be playing like a little bit looser. Their scouts are just kind of running forward, taking all the position which Ukraine seems to be giving for them. So I almost feel like France may start to get a little bit overconfident here.
Well, maybe, but as long as they can still keep it going, maybe they can show them how to play with a sniper here. Neo right now, and Sniper gets his first kill in his life. Boshi wants to prevent war from happening, but will just get taken down himself on the spy class, and despite the sniper, they still have 2 scouts. They have the capable scout and Solly on Olga, so they play this like it's product.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, they're walking all the way through far right. They're not really that scared, getting so much time on point. No stickies there, and Ubers didn't even need to get used to that point. You know, Olga just stands on the point. Like, you gotta wonder, really, what is Ukraine doing?
Well, one thing that's for sure for me is France has been looking a little bit sketchy, not completely at all, but they had their weak moments against Romania, and it looks like that is just getting completely fixed now. Omberg is back, they have a proper medic, everybody is a little bit more experienced with each other now, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, so 4th mid, only 5.5 minutes in, we do see DuMmTm back on sniper, see if he can hit any significant shots. That's really going to be the linchpin on this Ukraine mid. It doesn't seem like they really know much, and that's it. The first headshot on Olga, suddenly 6v5, and France is feeling it. They did run their own sniper to mid in the form of Neo, and yeah, France is kind of starting to feel they will have to move back, and finally this does seem like a 1 mid for the side of Ukraine, and 3 frags to boot, so I would imagine this should be Ukraine quite comfortably being able to take second as long as Neo doesn't hit any absolute miracle shots right now.
Neo going really deep, really early on, does not get punched, everybody backing off pretty early. Boshi with the follow-up attempt to shut the door, takes more damage that he deals, doesn't matter though, everybody's out, rotating back into lobby. Nakari getting the first kill here prevents the worst from happening with the Neo sniper. Olga wants to help out a little bit as well, most of them just move back. Omberg gets his Uber slowdown too, and with that, a little bit of a stalemate here now.
Yeah, so finally our first stalemate of the game, about 6 minutes 20 into the map, but we do see one pick down on the French side, so kind of Ukraine is feeling a little bit confident, kind of peeking a little bit towards lobby with DuMmTm, but actually an Uber gets used. I'm not quite sure what that was for, but they're going to have to desperately try and actually force Ombrak here. They do get a nice little market gardener and a frag on Neo, so as much as they will lose that demo, the Ukrainian side maybe just be able to take far right or move towards lobby, but actually I take that back, they lose Marissa really, really late and DuMmTm as well, so I thought I was looking really good for Ukraine there, but it seemed like they didn't quite manage to get out that lobby cleanly.
Yeah, they controlled the space like flank-wise really nicely, but Alakur just had a combo on lockdown, just didn't let anybody escape through lobby and just went sour from there.
Ooh, nice little pipe from Iho straight onto Neva, and stickies on Elakor, so this is actually looking good. If Ukraine are brave, they can start walking through choke, they can start taking some position. It's 4v4, but they do have a 5th spawn on the side of Ukraine and a sniper, so callback going down. It's only Neo and Olga they really have to worry about, and Ombrak's starting to get their fear. He's starting to move up towards 1, and yeah, they're going to have to give up this second point. There is actually a little bit of advantage on the side of Ukraine. It's only about 25% as of right now, but it doesn't seem like they really recognize it. They're not going to go off it, so we are going to continue with one of our stalemates, but they have a sniper up. DuMmTm still sniping, still feeling it. See if he can hit some of these all-important shots. Well, actually, no, none of that's happening at all. They're just going to walk all the way through 1, try and get a force, and I mean, it's a very brave Uber, you got to say that, with Boshi going down, and I suppose they will trade for Neo, but how are they really going to get through this lobby? How are they going to break through this spam? And the answer is
huge
not.
Pipes by Alakur. He's controlling lobby just so well for his team. But again with his sticky traps. Kobek wants to get the sniper out of the picture. He thought will survive, but can't really stay in anymore, can't threaten anything else. Omberg will stay safe on the point, will cap with his team. And I appreciate these like aggressive pushes they do just for the purpose of exchanging, but they don't have the follow-up after that. They just don't control the space well enough and just take so much damage in lobby every single time after that, despite having a clean exchange otherwise.
It does seem a little bit tricky. If you're going to go for a fast Uber trade, surely that's kind of something you do when you don't have the sniper. These kind of re-pushes is really difficult when you have a sniper, unless he's going to hit like the miracle shot, but so far we're not really seeing that happen, but it does kind of pay off a little bit in these equal Uber situations. They don't have to worry about sending a sack and getting some kind of off-gas because they already have their sniper up, but at this point, you know, it's 9 minutes in, it's 3 rounds up for the side of France. I don't think France is going to be too worried. Ombrak to be playing in a position, you know, he knows they're going to basically run a perma sniper at this point. He knows he just has to stay pretty healthy, pretty fine. Actually, marking out a straight on the Elagor. Okay, this is where you lose out from having a medic play nice and passive there. You don't quite have your buffs to deal with that kind of play, and actually Neo goes down as well. More marking out from the side of Boshi. Desperately tries to get in. He might actually even take down Olga here. He does. This is an absolutely disastrous trade from the side of France. Yeah, they'll pick up 1, but they're going to be so lucky to get out alive here. Ombrak may get caught in. He looks like he's just going to get out. No, he'll go down. Marissa right, frag right at the end. Takes down Nevo as well. So suddenly, yeah, as long as Ukraine can kind of keep a hold on this, they'll have the Uber advantage. I don't think it's an opportunity to run straight into last, but as long as they can just be a little bit patient here.
They have not been patient the past 5 minutes or so, so they still peek in despite being 3 down, and eventually realize it's not that great. There is so much that just happened, just Marissa feeding into that, getting the 2k callback out of the other door from lobby, getting a really nice clean air shot into getting headshot by DuMmTm, destroyed by somebody else, and just so much DM in like so little time, but eventually it still favors the Ukraine. He got in to second with some really nice baits, just a choke, just like baiting people around the corner, getting nice shots to them, getting a lot of damage done, and just clean it up from there. Getting the medic is hugely important now.
Yeah, I said, nice little push from Ukraine. They will have the super advantage, only about 40% as they enter into last. They don't have all the time in the world to deal with, but in through 4, taking some good position, locking a lot of France into their spawn. Stickies do get detonated, and Marissa's going to be straight on that cap time, forcing France to play towards point, and will go down. Unfortunately, this is now 5v3. Yeah, this is kind of getting a little bit equal. So much time on point for Ukraine, but as long as France stays on it, again, another little kind of a failed push from Ukraine. Doesn't seem like they're quite able to play this point the same way that France was. They're not able to get these kind of last little picks as they bait the point.
Yeah, they just don't have the priorities quite straight. Eho's just chasing tracks instead of actually denying people. But Boshi jumped in deep with the market gun against the drop of the Ombre into headshot by DuMmTm, and everybody on Ukraine's just storming in off of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Like I said, you know, Boshi, best jumper in the game as far as anyone can tell on Soldier, and literally taking Ombre directly down with a shovel to the head, basically winning the round for the side of Ukraine there. So can't deny, when it works, it works.
Yeah, individual skill coming in crucial. It led them into second the first time around, it will win them the round the second time, and now France has to be careful. They had a tough start in the last mid already, and it led to Ukraine winning around here.
Yeah, I said we mentioned a couple times before in previous seasons and previous iterations of the French team that they can be a team which can be a little bit affected by tilt sometimes. Some of the players, you know, a lot of passion, but on this next mid, Boshi, again, for the Markiana shenanigans, but not really going to pay off, and instantly, these picks going down, a little bit trading here and there, but again, it's going to be a mid where Ukraine's going to get forced all the way out, and they're going to be just desperately trying to get up with their lives, but Korvax's having none of it. Slowtown gets absolutely annihilated, and with Ihor actually getting stuck towards PC, this is looking really, really harsh. As long as Ombrak doesn't go down to some absolute miracle play here. No,
but no, they're keeping him safe. He was in PC the entire time. Somebody would have to come all the way in there to get him, so they played it careful. Captain comes in late, but never with the full rotation through mid to pincer the Devilman in PC. Is there to cap it up eventually. So it takes a while, but here we are eventually, and they still will have this Uber hand for last. France looking a lot more stronger now after the last sketchy bit. This time around much better for them. Ukraine again looking kinda just clueless as how to play with the sniper on the midpoint.
Yeah, like I said, this kind of sniper doesn't seem to be doing a great deal. Maybe a headshot here and there, but it all seems to be kind of a very individual play as opposed to playing with a team. But you have the team play from the side of France, Ubering straight in. Again, Demo taking a lot of position on point. Very nearly killing the medic here, but they'll take down the gun, they'll take down Marissa. That's good enough. That's all they really need here. And with the car getting taken down just then, again, all France really has to do is just play a little bit patient here. Ukraine seem to be basically just keen to walk straight into them. All they have to do is heal up. They know Slowtown's going to be nowhere near this Uber. All they need to do is just walk forward as a team, focus down to Toad on Heavy and Slowtown, just to guarantee you won't get this Uber. Play the point, and that's going to be 4-1 for the Frenchies, looking just so much more coherent as a team.
Yeah, and maybe this short period of just having to play from the back would make them realize how much they actually have to work for this again. Might be a good thing going forward, not to lose track of like how they want to play and that they need to be concentrated for this.
Yeah, I think, you know, certain times teams can kind of get a bit kind of just confident, a bit kind of overconfident, a bit kind of complacent with how they're playing, but big bomb in from Boshi very nearly takes down Elikor, but again, his life's going to be kind of forfeit this mid. He's very, very keen, doesn't really make anything happen. Elikor will eventually go down to the Toad, but again, Ukraine, they don't really get the time on these mid fights to actually make any plays. Yeah, one headshot comes out, but you know, they're already gone all the way through choke by time they would really be able to do anything. And Ihor going down so late here as well is absolutely disastrous. You have to have these demos on your last.
Yeah, and speaking of last, Corbin never already there, wanting some more kills. DuMmTm good to Slowtown in a lot of trouble, will get splashed on as well. Now he can't save his teammate and might just fall himself. Boshi also not in time with his spy play, barely misses his stab down to the medic, will get taken down, and that's almost another wipe in it of itself.
Yeah, like I said, they don't even care at this point. You know, Uber comes out just for the sake of keeping people healthy. Wiping Ukraine once again. Another round, 5-1, 15 minutes in. This looks like it's going to have to go to the mercy rule here. Ukraine are getting absolutely dominated.
Yeah, and I feel like France is going to want to save their time here, not going to play for 50 moments when they know they've done it five times already, that they can just win this quickly.
Yeah, so we do see actually DuMmTm is back on Soldier, you know, going for a little bit of a weird off-class, something we haven't quite seen from him, but Leo is actually sniping now, so France has taken Ukraine's advice, see if they can do it just a little bit better. So, a little bit more patient, DuMmTm, slow down, immediately getting headshot from Leo. Really, really nice shot here, so as long as France can play around on bracket, there's no real threats onto him at this point. They can play as slow as they need to, there's no real worry for anyone here. Again, France just so confident.
But they have no eyes on Bocce. He wants the big plays behind, but no, never on point. Patiently capping there will catch them off guard. And Bocce can't really make a play happen. Error else well caught down the way out. Barely survives that one. Homberg just wanting to take the fight himself, it seems.
Yeah, I think at this point, kind of France is getting a little bit, almost overconfident again, just kind of going for whatever plays, but this is kind of absolute carnage towards second. I think Ukraine's just like, you know, if we're going to fight now. Let's see what we can make happen. Here, shutting down Marissa and Elikor, shutting down Nakari here, so Slowtown did use his Uber at least at some point. I mean, I believe he didn't actually go down on mid. Not quite sure what's happening, getting really, really messy from the Ukrainian side, but once again, this is kind of Ukraine's last kind of desperate attempt to try and get a coherent last hold. Managed to actually deal with this French Uber, because so far it's been going really, really poorly. And in it comes, straight through one. Again, a lot of position taken. Slowtown goes down immediately. Ihor as well. Everything's looking absolutely fantastic for the French side. They're getting so many frags. They do lose a couple of their own, but actually, no, this might desperately work, but no, the wiper will immediately come in for Ukrainian side, and that's going to be it. That's 6-1 in 17 minutes, that was.
Yeah, really, really strong showing from France. This is exactly what they needed here to just like show everybody what they're made of. Like I mentioned a couple of times against Romania, they had their sketchy moments. They still won confidently 3-0-6-1 on product and process, I believe. So it's not like they were surprisingly bad or anything, just like worse than I expected. But this is much more in line with what I thought the French roster should be capable of this year.
Yeah, I said definitely. I think it makes sense. It kind of makes sense. You know, you have Ombrak, you have that kind of main cooling, kind of you know, seems clear to be a bit more of a team. But said if we look at the logs quickly, I mean, first thing that's got to stand out, it's Elikor. Everyone knows Elikor is like a DM beast, 455 damage per minute. I mean, you can see how the Frenchies were winning these mids, you know? If you can get that kind of damage out early, it forces Ukraine to play so far back, you know? Korvac as well, playing that kind of fairly kind of loose soldier, jumping around, kind of doing whatever he wants. 370 DPM again, like 17 for 7, like they're able to get so much damage so far forward that Ukraine kind of, you know, playing a little bit passive with their sniper. It really came down to, unless DuMmTm hit a headshot in the first kind of 5 seconds of mid, it was almost like, it felt like that was over for Ukraine.
Yeah, it's really strange because, like, looking back at the game, it doesn't feel to me, at least, that there was just the one standout player on France despite these stat lines. It's just that, like the team play was just there, that like everybody knew what everybody was doing and what they needed to do to enable their teammates, and that's just like exactly what you want to see here. This perfect team play for coming out of France and just enabling each other really nicely, and then that's where these differences come here from.
Yeah, I do want to say just on the last screen we did see for a second there, Ombrak took I think 46 damage per minute on average. That's just like literally not getting hit there. It's absolutely insane. But you can see everything went the way of the French side here on basically every single point. We had that one round where we saw France, you know, looking kind of Ukraine looking just like that little bit better there, but more or less everything else was just like the all-star France variety hour, really. Just absolute destruction. Even though you could almost argue kind of similar-ish kind of Ubers, but it just even seemed like all the Slowtown's Ubers, they achieved less than Ombraks. They either were kind of at a bad time, or they were kind of forced to be in a difficult position, or, you know, was forced some aggressive French play, whereas most of Ombrak's Ubers, they were proactive, they're making things happen on last, they were either used kind of in order to get into a last point or to save health. They all served a specific purpose, whereas some of Slowtown's Ubers were just a bit kind of uncertain, wouldn't really get anything done.
Yeah, to talk about the positives that Ukraine had, I think the best moments they had in their play were these last push attempts, just these like confident, even exchanges that they took, got people in from flank, got some kills there as well, got out with the combo, but they just couldn't follow up on it with a sniper, like you mentioned. Difficult to do that, and they just got overwhelmed eventually in lobby with too much damage and bad positioning. And it's really a shame because they got in there in the first place really nicely.
Yeah, I said I think definitely Ukraine seems to be quite aggressive, you know, almost like this this style of kind of you know, the old the Russian teams of old where they just push it, just make things happen, kind of do whatever. That style of play works, but I feel like it can't really work while they have DuMmTm perma sniping. I mean, like, surely, DuMmTm, from your point of view, going into Gully Wash now, surely you've got to be thinking they've got to kind of throw this off-classing out the window. It just doesn't seem to be working against France.
Yeah, unless a massive adaptation comes, I don't see it like doing miracles. Unless, like you mentioned before, he just like hits those shots without any setup by anybody else and any protection. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Especially with the layout of the map, you can't snipe that girtly from choke. You can. It just takes forever to get there, and it's not that likely to get a great sideline there. So most commonly, you'll see them snipe from the big area, and that requires just even more like playing around for the entire team than on process in itself.
Yeah, so definitely on Gully, kind of if you're running a sniper to mid, like you said, it kind of has to be towards big door, and then really your first initial pick opportunity is gonna be on the demo. And I feel like at this point, Elikor is such an established top prem demo that he's played against snipers before. He's played against like the low panda era when they'd run sniper to mid. He's played against these teams who would run these kind of off classes on the regular, and he's just going to expect it. He's going to know what angles he can peek, what angles he can't, and he's going to know that the second he hears that ring out, you know, maybe he just drops down to his floor. Maybe he just plays safe, knowing that this sniper on big door can't really do a lot to pressure them. He can only be kind of quite reactive once the French side already starts to win the mid. So I don't know. I think if I was the Ukrainian side, I would stick with DuMmTm playing soldier, or even shuffle up, maybe kind of put DuMmTm on demo, Ihor on soldier. You know, they're definitely kind of I've seen Ihor more on soldier and DuMmTm more on demo. Maybe kind of stick to more of their kind of conventional classes and just kind of give up with this kind of sniper thing. I think the French side is just too coordinated.
On the other hand, maybe we'll see more sniper out of France as well. We've seen a little bit here, and Neo and Nevo are some really, really capable snipers. Neo is like more the flashy one, that's a little bit inconsistent. Nevo is more the consistent but less flashy one of the two. So depending on like who feels more like it, that they could just step up themselves and make it work properly against them. And they've done in the past before, Ascent specifically, both in the all-French version and the more all-European version. Both rosters have done it quite a lot of times.
Definitely would be interesting to see exactly what's going to happen. But kind of going into Gully, I mean, you know, my money's going to be on the French side again. It's such a dominating process, and I feel like kind of processing Gully, they're these real kind of like classic maps. It doesn't tend to be one team is way better than the other. It kind of tends to be maps which most players are pretty kind of they kind of know what's going on. I gotta say, this is going to be another dominating map for France. But what do you think, DuMmTm?
Well, if this is anything like any other Nations Cup game that I've seen, then it's going to be a really close game somehow, despite it not making any sense. That's been the recurring theme the last week or so in the Nations Cup. So I don't know for sure, but realistically speaking, obviously, France is just looking so strong, it's going to be difficult. Maybe if they like try out really wacky stuff, because, you know, might as well at this point, they're going to make it a little bit harder for themselves.
Yeah, we did say actually, when you talk about like the all French, we said it before in different Prem games, you know, maybe you start off with something weird on the first round and see if you can almost kind of tilt the team into making some mistakes. But here we are, map 2 of this Nations Cup game, Ukraine versus France, going into our first mid on Gully Wash. We don't see any weird offcasters from any team, and immediately Boshi straight in on Elikor, absolutely denying that completely, and with Korvac going down as well, France is going to have such a difficult time getting in on this mid, and yeah, now they're going to force that big door completely. That's absolutely nuts jumps from Boshi. Like I said, you know, he is the jumper main, but I don't think even Elikor expected a soldier play that quickly.
Yeah, and that's where the complacency that you mentioned comes in. Just, oh, you know, there's nothing bad that can happen here, and suddenly your demo man is dead. And Ukraine looking to take secondary spawners are on their way, but they're not here yet, so France is currently outnumbered, taking the fancy way out, but it goes unpunished for now. Maybe not even getting out in the first place. Taking the spam fight, Ihor goes down, Olga high, but unpunished as well. France wants to take this fight, Boshi in from behind, once again on Spy. Not really much of a jumping class, and will get taken down as well.
Yeah, I said France just has so much confidence going into this. They absolutely didn't care. Like, the second that France seemed to be able to get through that kind of shutter, that one little choke point, really, which would prevent you from getting out into second, they were just like, okay, we're fine, we've got this. And they're just, you know, their spam, their kind of coordinated damage dealing is just kind of leagues ahead of Ukraine at this point. So they've actually managed to take that equal Uber player disadvantage into Uber advantage and player advantage. A little bit risky there with Ombrak getting jumped up by Boshi there, but again, going to be looking good as long as Ombrak doesn't get taken down by anything weird here. Nope. You know, the French side even kind of understanding what's going on in terms of forward spawns, in terms of the players, whatever, and Uber's coming in straight through main. Yeah, Ukraine's they're going to get so caught here on the side. Slowtown should go down. DuMmTm as well, fairly easily. This gun is going to go down. So much time towards point. Again, all France has to do is just play nice and slow here. As long as they can play this high ground, they can play these heals. They know with Slowtown down on the side of the Ukrainians, they just need to play the hills. They play the arrows, they play the hills, and that's it. First round there, a little bit longer than process, but definitely just seeing so much more team play. This does really, it almost doesn't really look like the French Nations Cup team. It just looks like Ascent.
Yeah, and that's what they need here. Just come back into the own after folding mid-season, getting back into the own. I think there's some land roster-ish going, I heard, but you know, after dying, it's a little bit difficult, and let's see what Ukraine can hold against it.
Yeah, so next mid again, no weird off classes, going to be playing a little bit equal. French is kind of taking their side. Oho definitely trying to get towards Choke. He hasn't actually been seen, but gets shut down immediately. They kind of detect the scent of him and immediately take him down, and as much as going to be some spam exchange with Boshi so weakened, actually with all this damage going down, Slowtown does get taken, and Ombrak is kind of he's behind his team, but this is a little bit risky. It's just kind of him and Neo at this point. I think it would be quite brave of Neo to go for this. He has got the heals. He does immediately take down Nakari, and DuMmTm as well just a little bit later. I was almost hoping that DuMmTm would kind of move forward with his scout, but I think he was just in a slightly rough situation, so Neo taking the two 1v1s.
Something that we haven't mentioned yet is that Ihor and DuMmTm did in fact swap for this map like you expected them, or hoped they would. So it led to a little bit of a better start to this round, but in the end, France is still in control here. Really confident he will have this advantage out of the midpoint and looking to make some move. Neo in a little bit early, loses the fight to Nakari, but the rest of his team is still there, wanting to take some space with this Uber advantage.
Yeah, so this is still looking pretty good. Uber does come out from the French side. I mean, they're going to try and get all the way through main and upper lobby to try and be able to catch out Slowtown here, but they haven't got fantastic health. They haven't got absolutely loads of players here. It is very brave to go anything kind of too deep here, so yeah, they will be forced to maybe just be content with capping second, but Slowtown's Uber is actually up, and with Korbak and Olga down on the French side, I mean, Ukrainians, they didn't even have to be as slow as they are right now, but I guess their logic is kind of play a little bit methodically, try and maybe take second for free, but they can't really dawdle here. They can't wait absolutely forever, and this deep bomb from Boshi seems really poorly timed. I mean, you have Uber advantage. It seems a little bit kind of over the top to go too hard for Ombrak there. And actually, having that player down is going to cause Francis to walk straight through this choke point, take down Nakari and Marissa. And this push out into second's just been an absolute mess. I mean, it just seems like Ukraine's a little bit too keen to go for some of these Reddit plays.
Yeah, they took so long to get in here in the first place. They had Ombrak on like 60 HP the entire time, but once they came in, he was like almost back to full, and they still wanted to focus him down early, despite him being healthy again. So just priorities are just not there for Ukraine right now, and France is just able to take advantage of it perfectly. We'll get all these kills on a recommit after they got this one initial kill on second. Getting into the last right now with this Uber push, no Uber at all for Slowtown to counter with.
Yeah, I said this Uber's going to come straight in from River. They can take some good position. They are kind of playing from floor, but again, the damage is coming out. They can play this kind of slight disadvantaged position as long as they can get that damage out, which they are. Again, they lose Nevo in that entire last push. That's absolutely insane on the French side. I mean, kind of going back to that second push out from Ukraine. I mean, I understand Ukraine are basically playing as like a kind of more or less a mix at this point against what is very, very similar to the French Ascent team, but I think Ukraine just kind of almost needs to not necessarily slow down, but just really think about what they're doing. That they are just playing too much like a mix. They're going for the kind of plays which look flashy, but they're gonna lose you rounds.
Yeah, it's just really strange, but this time a little bit more for tame start. No initial early kill like the last two we had here. Just both teams feeling each other out. DuMmTm will get the first kill. Korbak under their mid-half will go for a jump from drop down, but Nakari will go away, doesn't see him coming, doesn't get the pack either. huge damage from behind and up front once the Sol is commit for. Olga gets a lot of damage as well. Pipes just flying, Elaku gets 2 here. And suddenly it's just looking all bad for Ukraine.
Yeah, kind of, as far as I could tell there, kind of Neo going down early, the Ukrainian side was hoping to desperately get Boshi right behind. Actually, Boshi, all this time he spends the entire mid behind it, immediately gets 2 rockets on Ombrak right at the end, so that's actually suddenly looking way better for the Ukrainian side, and throughout all of that, yeah, Boshi does go down, but much better heals up on the Ukrainian side. They're taking a lot of damage. They're losing so many frags that they're just not really able to get through these choke points. It really does seem like we saw Eleko absolutely pounding last map, and I think I'm going to predict he's doing the exact same here. It just seems like everywhere Ukraine wants to go, they're just taking so much damage.
Yeah, just the French focus fire is so strong. We saw it on last, despite being on low ground, still out-DMing them anyway, despite being on a disadvantage there. But once again, he on a shutter door being able to just continue on the trend, just finding damage together where they need to and get the kills before the Ukrainian players can even start committing into the second point.
Yeah, so we are actually going to see a lot of off classes on the side of Ukraine. I mean, they did have Uber advantage. Actually, I think it's about 30 or 40%, but they haven't been building. They've kind of been playing as if it's even, so they're just playing with about, I mean, they have a sniper and they have a spy at this point, so desperately going to try and do something. Boshi's actually directly behind Ombrak. He's decloaked straight behind him and he just backstabs him. I mean, I don't know if Ombrak just doesn't have headphones or something, but that was within about a meter of him. That's absolutely insane. I mean, he gets that pick and lives as well. I mean, it's really going to be on Slowtown to have an absolutely disastrous Uber here. That's the only thing which can really stop Ukraine from being able to take second here, but
it's already not looking too good. They have to commit this entire Uber to go back and chase somebody. Kovac will go down, but then there's still 2 more in lobby just walking forward from main. Nevo and Olga trying to make stuff happen, and they force people to go back, but Olga can't really do this fight alone against a heavy-handed scout. So chaos has been created to slow them down. Not too successfully for France, but they don't lose anything else, and Slowtown dies in all of this chaos as well.
Yeah, I said so. You mentioned about how, you know, Olga wasn't really able to cap the point there, but yeah, like it doesn't really matter as long as Slowtown dies and Ombrak stays alive, which he may. Okay, he'll just about not die late. I was gonna say that might have been absolutely disastrous, just a rookie mistake of not checking top, but yeah, kind of Olga's little delay there was exactly what France needed. And now, suddenly, we're looking at France with an Uber advantage. They can't really get in before these Ukrainian spawns come in. I would imagine France's kind of peeking is only that, just kind of peeking, taking some position, you know, taking it down this gun, which is always nice to do just before you get this Uber. But now we're looking 90%. Neo is sniper, so not an absolutely perfect push, but Uber comes in. Nakari getting focused down on Pyro, does deny a little bit, does allow his team to pick up callback, but again, we have this height advantage from the French side. Lacour's getting in, trying to get some damage on this sentry, but it is actually looking a little bit decent from the Ukrainian side. It is equal players. The French side is dragging them towards point. Yep, Uber does get used. Really, really important from Slowtown. They're getting that Uber out, getting those frags, but immediately it just seems like France is just so aware of it. Ombrak, he reads the situation perfectly. He knows he's got to get out. He's got to not get caught by this Uber. And again, it's going to be about a 50% advantage from the French side. Losing your demo this early in the last hold. I mean, you can almost kind of see how the French side may have decided just to push last off this. I think if it was even rounds, the French side would have wanted to go while Wiethoofd was down, but I think they're content, you know, just to play it a little bit slow. They don't have to rush things at this point.
Yeah, it was a little bit very slow on the last push, but like you mentioned, they just read it perfectly. You realized when they had to leave and are able to create another situation to go just straight in this time. Much better start to the super mat downs have to be down really, really early on, and now it's just a matter of taking the damage to the Ukrainian players.
Yeah, so this is just absolutely, like, I mean, looking at that kind of last, it's only really Wiethoofd really to deal with. Yeah, I mean, if you saw that last from the point of view of Ombrak, he just spent that entire time top right just dancing around. For some reason, the Ukrainian soldiers were still desperately trying to get onto him. I mean, when you lose Slowtown that early, it doesn't really matter killing Ombrak in that late fight. You've got to deal with someone who's dealing with the frags. It's really not going to make all that much of a difference. But, yeah, here we are, kind of next mid, fourth mid of it. We have callback. Rolling out a little bit aggressive onto right side. Does look like the Ukrainians are going to take. Going to be a bit of a mirror mid, playing floor towards the enemy side, and both teams are taking decent amount of spam. We do have Neo sniping. Let's go down immediately, so we might actually see this first little... No! Callback! Absolutely insane rockets. Taking out 3 players in 2 rockets. And he's just going absolutely crazy this mid. I mean, yeah, they do lose Ombrek near the end of that fight, but... Unless Nakari can do something absolutely insane, which actually maybe he can.
Almost.
No.
Really close fight in the end, despite Korvac just absolutely destroying them with his just incredible jump there. But Ukrainian DM still helps them out this much, makes it come down to 2 players only staying alive for France, and not anything more than that. Able to get Ombrek as well with the initial jump beforehand, so they make them work a lot more than they wanted to.
Yeah, I said really... Just kind of seems like almost from like a DM or kind of from... It seems like France has a slightly better idea of what they want to do on mids, but... Either way, it does seem like we're going to have another little stalemate. Ubers are about as close as kind of really matters. 10% advantage for Ukraine, not really going to make any difference. And both teams do have a sniper up. Boshi on the side of Ukraine and Neo for the French side. So let's see if who's going to win. The established Sixes sniper or the random jumper main from Tempest servers. We'll see who's going to manage to make something happen first. But you know,
I think that's undermining
kind of
his jumping skills a little bit. But then again, it's not like jumping will help on sniper.
Well, you never know. Might hit some nutty B hops. Might be able to walk straight in and make some huge plays. But then on the French side, I think surely at this point they can be pretty content to, you know, they have mid, they have 3 rounds. They don't really have to peek that far. They can just kind of force Ukraine into making some kind of mistake. E peeks on Big Door from Neo here. They do actually take down Nakari, which is a little bit bad. They're forcing all of Ukraine to move towards Big Door. And Elikor's still so happy to go in and actually this jump from Choke, I believe it was, straight onto Slowtown, immediately to get that Uber forced off, and Ombrek's so far away, he knows he's going to be in no real fear, and they're going to give Ukraine absolutely no time at all. No, Marissa! From behind, straight from lower onto Ombrek. Fantastic 2-shot, so that's suddenly now disastrous for the French side. Slowtown's going to desperately try and dodge around this sniper and scout, but... That was just so important for Ukraine there.
Yeah, that was such a strange situation. You mentioned Korvac getting the fourth, but I think it was just more of a case of Stouto not wanting to drop the DuMmTm who just got weak in the fight on a Big Door, and Korvac just kind of jumped in at the wrong moment and just kind of couldn't do anything anymore at that point. Uber was already fourth by the time he arrived. So a little bit strange, the really early pop, but despite all of that, they managed to stay in control here for now. Will have the opportunity to finally push forward, but in the meantime, Ombrek spawns on Prince as well. Obviously far from having Milsa wants another cheeky kill from behind, won't get any good damage this time around, but second already lost from France to Ukraine.
Yeah, so even with Ombrek being on crit, it is still significant Uber advantage from the side of the Ukrainians. Looks like the Toad is desperately screaming for his team to walk through Shutter here. He wants to go. That even with this crits up, it's 15% away. As long as they can get these important frags with the Uber, that's going to be what matters, but... Yeah, that's it. Elikor, Neo, Callback all going down instantly. There's crits on the heavy. Laser beams are coming out. That's 2 frags immediately and a third on the Slowtown. Okay, I take everything back. August is absolutely annihilated on heavy. Can he get a 4th or maybe even a 5th frag? It's only really Nakari and Marissa here. He's getting 5.
But Nakari still gets Ombrek in all of this. Olga just a little bit too slow. Ironically on the heavy end. They still get the 1 kill they really needed here to still make it work somehow going forward. Despite all of this, France drastically just trying to make something happen, want to cap the second point, just to have a little bit of a safety buffer in terms of time being wasted until the Ukrainian players will arrive at last. Maybe force another mistake here and get a force out of them, or something like that. But just such a clutch kill by Nakari.
Yes, it's absolutely crazy. It just seems like Ukraine just kind of really like they're hitting the shots. Maybe they don't have the best kind of strategy as a team, but they're hitting their shots. But they are trying to get on to second, but France is having absolutely none of it. I'm really hoping Ukraine can be a little bit aware of this Uber advantage and just kind of build fast enough to really kind of maybe catch Ombrek a little bit off guard. France are playing... Nah, they're just starting to move a little bit far away actually. Ombrek, he is aware. They do have this little bit of disadvantage, and I'm not even sure if Ukraine are really going to see the opportunity to go for it. 90%. No, it does look like they are moving towards choke. They're going to see what they can do.
They messed up building a little bit. It's if they think they have that, it's going to be worse at than they think it is, because at this point it's gone already. So they surely must realize the more time they spend here not getting in, the worse it gets. And at this point, Ombrek just pops on into them himself for some reason.
Yeah, like I said, definitely kind of a bit of an advantage kind of play there. You know, it was equal Ubers, but Ombrak's clearly sort of better position to use it, keeps some health, kind of keeps some position. Again, it's all good for France, as long as they can remain 3 rounds up, that's all that really matters. I feel like on the Ukrainian side at this point, it might even be a position where they just want to start doing some dry pushes. I mean, with Korbak going down, that's going to be pretty good. As long as they can get an arrow on some key players here, maybe they just start moving towards Choke. They've got to know at this point how close France is on Big Door, and yep, they're going to walk straight through Choke. DuMmTm leading the charge, getting some stickies out. France getting really forced far back towards their shutter. I think as long as Ukraine can keep the height here, that's what really matters here. Yeah, they'll lose a player, but as the position's been taken, that's what matters.
Yeah, just so much more confident, and it's something they've been lacking. I feel like Wiethoofd on that moment is just good for the calls in general, maybe. Just to have some little bit more structure here that they've been lacking. Nakawi once again just feeds into lobby, gets so much damage onto Eleko, unable to get the kill, but baits people into lobby, and Korbak will be the one falling in the end.
Yep, so Korbak has gone down, so still equal Ubers. We do have a spy in the form of Boshi, once again feeding it. But we're actually going to see an Uber trade, a much later use for Ombrak. He only uses now. That's about a 70% advantage in terms of these users, and Slowtown should go down nice and late here. So this Boshi spy, I mean, his play is really only going to be towards last, or actually he's just going to run forward and... Boshi, explain. What's going on right now?
Yeah, his spy successful. It's something like 1 in 4 or something now, so not too great on that. And Igor finally able to get one of his conches up and ready, but I don't see the point of it just going behind, trying to maybe back it, but so much cap time already, even if he did get there. It would have been too late, but doesn't matter. Ombrak just walked back trying to dodge people, but somehow he didn't realize that Igor was still behind lines. Gets the kill into the medic. Olga and Korbak will fall as well, and suddenly it's looking all dandy for Ukraine as long as these last remaining players can be kept in check.
Yeah, like, that was so weird. Marissa just seemed to be able to walk wherever they wanted, just kind of running in here, there. Yeah, whatever, you know, I'll kill Ombrak, I'll kill a soldier, I don't even care. Nice little pipe from DuMmTm as well, okay. I think Ukraine's just like, okay, all this strategy, all this team play, all that kind of stuff, I ain't feeling it no more. What if we just hit all of our shots? I think that's the strategy they're going for, and fair play to them. They're making it work, especially with DuMmTm hitting all these pipes. Yeah, get that boy off sniper, keep him off sniper. He's pounding on demo right now.
Yeah, something they desperately needed, and it's strange. Like, I think Ihor has been using the conch like almost the entire game, but that was the first one he got, and it not even directly got success, but he got something out of it anyway.
Yeah, we do see the Uber come in from the Ukrainian side. DuMmTm immediately takes down Korbak. That's so important. And Olga as well. They're going to force the French side onto the point, but so much cap time's coming in, so much damage, and that's going to be, yep, 3-1. We finally see our first round from the side of Ukraine on Gully.
Something just has shifted. They got their own chaos just in their own control in a way that France can't, and I feel like that's been something they wanted to have happen the entire time on process, but just couldn't. Like, the closest they came was a little bit on the last points, but that was it.
Boshi in again, immediately takes down Eleko on these mids. I mean, at this point, Eleko is going to be so frightened. Like, turns out the DuMmTm has some plays up his sleeve, and this is actually going to be a 1 mid from Ukraine entirely off that play. Literally force the demo out, and just, France, you know, they know they have rounds up, they're going to be a little bit afraid, they're going to move themselves back to choke. I mean, yeah, equal Ubers, but, you know, in terms of getting into the minds of the French side, it's going to be looking good. And actually, this is kind of chaos, like the combo from Ukraine is flanking directly behind the French side. Pipes are raining from everywhere. Explain to me what's going on, DuMmTm. I've got no idea, I can't follow this.
Ukraine just wanted to have the big wraparound and, like, lock them in the choke where they can't escape to last with, but they were just way too slow to do it, and in the meantime, Ombrak and Co just kind of went to mid, knowing that the spawns will arrive late, while their spawns are gonna be coming in much quicker and able to just kill them, flanking in from not even really behind at that point anymore, just spawning and walking to their own choke, where at this point all of the Ukrainian players were just waiting to die. One of the soldiers, I don't know who it was, just hit a nice little 2-shot onto Slowtown and just killed the dream of the nice little wraparound play.
Definitely, yeah, I feel like Ukraine's got the passion, but not necessarily the game sense. But Uber immediately comes in from the French side, straight through main, getting some good damage. No real frags yet. Gun does go down, which is really important in these last pushes, but they have taken a lot of damage. But the Ukrainian team is getting a lot of the frags. As long as Korbak goes down here on the rim. Oh, so much damage though. Eleko was absolutely pounding with these stickies. 2 frags and the Centurion, but yeah, I feel like that just came down to how much damage was done.
Yeah, it was just completely decided by them because Ukrainian side had such a better start. They got like 2 players incredibly early, including Nomadic, so they just lost it out by pure damn. You mentioned Alok just hitting 60 needed and 2 more as well staying alive just to back that up as well, making such a huge difference.
Yeah, so I'm thinking going into this mid, this is the 6th mid of the game. We're going to want to see another really strong thing from the side of the Ukrainians, but Marissa and Boshi going down immediately. This is looking really bad. Slowtown might even get caught in choke. He will! That's suddenly not good. This might even be a case of DuMmTm goes down to this aggressive scout play on the side of Nevo. Yeah, he will get traded, but now Dakari's caught out. It's kind of a case of, is it worth getting that scout for the sake of your own life? At this point, it's only really Ehor who's caught kind of behind. He's not going to have a great deal of health to do with anything, and I think at this point the Frenchies is just like, we don't really care. We're above point, we have an uber disadvantage. If you want to stand behind, that's fine. I mean, we'll just walk straight into last, Doesn't really
once again on Spy
deal.
as well. He doesn't have the greatest conversion rate on it, but he tries again with the fancy stab, but lands on top of Omric and not behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta admire the plays, but when it causes your team to be 2 players down with uber disadvantage, as the French side ubers right through Shutter, yeah, I think Neo's going to go straight for DuMmTm here, so he can convert this frag. Well, actually, with help from Olga, but it's actually getting a little bit messy, but with so many French players alive, surely this has got to be another round converted here.
Well, they still have some hope left on Kari. Bosch still alive. Slowtown just going for Source, gets them. No kill has been gotten for him, but he gets his Uber Olga, juggles him as much as he can. But in the end, all that matters is that Evo doesn't last forever. Wants to bait him as well a little bit, but this time Sid wouldn't have mana too much. I don't think spawns would have come in, so maybe for the best not to waste any more time now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the big thing we've got to take note of is that Boschi's spy plays not really working. Ukrainian sniper plays not really working. I think.
How about Ukrainian pyro plays?
Well, I think we're going to see what happens with the Kari running pyro straight to mid, and I believe they do have slowdown on crits as well. So the Kari not really able to convert anything that early, but with DuMmTm and Slowtown playing towards Big Door, it doesn't really matter too much. They can get this crits. It's almost like the rest of the Ukrainian team doesn't even have to do that much as long as this crits can come up in time to make something good happen for the Ukrainian side.
That was really sketchy there in Big Door. Callback wanted an arrow, missed, and then Marissa also missed a shot, so he just barely stays alive somehow.
The crit comes in, immediately sticky straight onto Elakor and Ombrak. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Neo's caught kind of behind the rock. It doesn't really matter too much with Nevo going down and Neo right at the end with a beautiful little pipe from DuMmTm. I mean these Ukrainian players definitely crits is definitely what we want. And DuMmTm, he's having absolutely none of it. We don't need you French players. I'm just going to spawn camp you straight on the forward spawn. He doesn't care. He's willing to take the whole of Ukraine on his back and just carry them to victory.
Yeah, that's something they've been lacking last map for sure. These kills are just so good now. No Medic, no Demo Man on last, no Sticks being set up on point, and crits really almost as well again. This is the prime opportunity. The off-classes have to carry this for France, now the Pyro and the Engineer.
Yeah, so DuMmTm again, Chris is about to come up, he's going to move towards River, callback, taking a lot of damage, and again there's a gun on the side of France, but Sticky's come in, but no! DuMmTm immediately gets taken down, so Chris is going to do a great deal, but actually, none of it matters, because Marissa just stands on point.
This is where the tilt you mentioned might be coming in. There was a crit from River, a heavy in Shudder, and France didn't know what to look at, and it clearly was not the point, and after DuMmTm died, they just all figured, let's just play the point and pray it works, and with so much chaos, it just did.
So we are going to see Slowtown on crits again, and this mid, Nakari, Pyro, Neo on Sniper, so definitely a weird kind of mid, not the conventional kind of stuff. We'll see how if Ukraine can kind of play a little bit more passive, need to kind of get these crits up, but not really. 2 picks immediately on the French side, and so much damage being done again. Elakor just seems to be able to hit so many stickies on these mid-fights. He's absolutely crushing them towards choke, and with callback behind, doing so much damage along with Olga now. That's going to be another wipe for France, and with 4 minutes to go, 3 rounds Ukraine needs just to make this even, just to take this to golden cap. I mean, it's kind of getting to the point where Ukraine has to make just kind of miracle plays or just nothing, and Boshi is aware of it. Bosch, knows on Spy again. Can he make it happen? He doesn't even get it. Decloaking from the start, directly behind Ombrak. He gets a drop. Okay.
And there was a headshot too. The Pyro as well, denying Corbett from any place at all. Speaking of miracle plays, I think that counts 3 in a row here. Getting these
I
three
think
players down.
that counts as enough of a miracle. They're gonna take down Olga behind this point. Olga's not gonna make this easy for them down the demo, but Ukraine don't really have a choice at this point. It's 3 minutes 25 remaining in the entire game. 3 rounds they've got to get. They just got to keep walking forward. And Dakari on the Pyro is just going to keep waddling as far as he can. I believe he has his flares, he has the flamethrower, he can reflect all the spam he wants, so as long as he can keep spam away from his medic, that's what's really, really important. But
huge headshot
keep
by
the sniper
Neo.
shots away. Yeah.
But can't air blast those. And Slowton will have to feed it in his head. He goes down. Ukraine just being completely stunned at what to do now. Obviously they had this advantage to play off, but not anymore, and they just kind of want to get some kills themselves, but will be on the receiving end instead. Nevo air blasted down as well.
Oh my god. The Neo-Nero combo is absolutely pounding right now. Truly the king of off-glassing, at least in this game, so definitely that's the combo you want. And again, France almost, a little bit kind of remembering that spawn camp Deto did to them. They want to see what they can do. Yeah, Elikor getting a little bit of revenge on Boshi there. Uber advantage, 40%. Do they go straight into the last, or do they try and convert themselves another round just for the sake of, putting it up on the scoreboard?
Yeah, France just making their way back now over the map. Obviously just a little bit more time until it is finally done for them. And in the critical Uber situation, it will be interesting to see if they still decide to just pop in confidently if they know what's up. Who they're going for the Highlanders threats.
Yeah, see, they're going to do this kind of Uber where the Pyro kind of forces people back on the point. Slowdown immediately goes down. They're actually not even forcing them away from point. They're just running straight at them. Full flame on. See what can happen on the Pyro. He's doing so much damage. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nero almost single-handedly caps the point. That's 6-2. That was brutal. I don't think I've ever seen a Pyro do that much work on a last push.
What is it about French people that they hate the Pyro so much yet are so good on it?
I think if you to truly hate something, you must first understand it. And clearly Neo's hating Sniper because he's running it to mid. 1 minute 20. I think if we're going to see something weird happen, something crazy, it's going to be right now, almost kind of dead time really for this game. France should be winning here, but we'll see if anyone can make some big plays, get into some frag clips. Juicy directs from Olga, but no one really doing anything absolutely crazy. Neo is trying to hit some shots, but not making a great deal happen. Trades being going off here and there, but
slow start to this mid fight. Just kind of strange. And Ombrik eventually stuck in an MGE fight with the other medic. Slowdown will go down. Ombrik the superior medic today, and really strange, like slow start to this mid fight, and eventually just people randomly committing. Where the Ukraine in a situation where they still had a chance to win this game would have just needed to play defensively and keep the sniper out in the picture.
Yeah, I think at this point Ukraine's quite reasonably kind of they think the game's over. I mean, Boshi is directly above Choke. Gonna see if he can't get something right at the very end. Doesn't even manage to get Ombrak though. Doesn't quite hit those rockets in. Yeah, this is 17 seconds. This is all just for the logs right now, and Olga's feeling his logs right now. Nevo 2 running straight all the way through main. Just pure aggression from the French side. Taking it to a full wipe, and that's going to be it. 2 seconds. That is a very, very confident win for the side of France on both maps there.
Yeah, a little bit more interesting stuff arguably has happened here again on the second map, but once again, France just showing the strength, and only a little bit of chaos was able to get them the game out of control and lost these rounds, but overall they kept it in order, in control, knew exactly what they were doing, and yeah, their strengths of a team and their experience together are just slowly but surely coming back here in the Nations Cup and coming to fruition now.
Yeah, so definitely French team looked absolutely kind of just really, really dominating. Almost felt like a part of some of the kind of French team's mistakes were almost as a result of them having so many rounds up. They kind of, got like a little bit overconfident. They knew they could kind of play a little bit looser. They could play like a little bit slacker. They kind of, it isn't like if it was even, they'd kind of still be really tense on their toes, but they had really, really good stuff. You would imagine kind of going into Nations Cup, the French team would be, like you said right at the beginning of the cast, one of the favourites.
Yeah, there's a couple of our nations I would consider like semi-final contenders already, and France after this one, if not before already, definitely one of those. We see a little bit of numbers this time, more back and forth game, regardless of the end scoreline still than the first one. So still stuff happened for the Ukraine, so better numbers for them this time around.
They're definitely better. I think, the switch of Wiethoofd onto Demo, getting some big damage there, 350 DPM, which for any regular game would be fantastic. Really, really good damage. Not in this game though. Elikor hitting out 450 DPM again, 28 for 14. Absolutely dominating. I said so many of these mid fights. He's just hitting all these crucial stickies. Just kind of, it felt like Ukraine was never really healthy in any of these team fights. Definitely helped along by Callback again. 37 frags. When's the last time we saw a soldier get 37 frags in regulation time?
I am sad that we've not seen the callback in this game once, which is to say the callback is a soldier just immediately jumping the medic on mid, and that's all he does, but usually killing him as well. So none of that today. We saw a little bit of that, but with DuMmTm instead, especially with Boshi, to great success, unlike his byplays for the most part, unfortunately. So a little bit of a mixed bag there for the Ukraine instead. Like you mentioned, the switch from to DuMmTm for Detour was just so crucial for them this game to have any chances at all, really. Would have been maybe a little bit more interesting on process as well if they did that, not just performance-wise in general, but also just team structure-wise. It seemed to have helped a lot to have him on the combo, not just randomly jumping all over the place or sniping.
Yeah, so definitely, like, if you look at the Ukrainian side, I think the most important kind of statistic to really look at this game is just the amount of deaths. Boshi 32, Nakari 26, Marissa 24. It's this kind of situation where you go for these plays, but if it doesn't work out, you're kind of it makes it so much more difficult for your team to hold that point or to be able to hold that last or kind of like whatever. You kind of go with the intention of kind of helping the team, but when you go down and don't really achieve a lot for it because the France team is expecting it, they're like established kind of veterans of Prem at this point, then all you're really doing is kind of putting your own team at a disadvantage. And I felt like that was what Ukraine was doing. It didn't even feel like France necessarily had to force Ukraine into making mistakes because Ukraine seemed pretty happy to make those themselves.
Alright, and with that, France will get 6 points out of this fixture. Our first seed now in the group. There's still one more game to be played for them, but out of groups they are for sure already. Still depends which seed they will... Actually, yeah, No, actually, I'm stupid, because Ukraine just lost this matchup. The only way France could even tie with anybody is if Ukraine wins the next fixture and then they won the head-to-head. So France is first seed, that's guaranteed. The question is who will get second. Ukraine still has a chance themselves if they win the next one, and it will be directly important how the other Group G fixture will go, Ireland and Romania, which will be happening right after this in a little break, so stick around for that to decide, to see who will have another chance in Group G to also make it out of groups, and we see you in a few minutes.
Hi, old beaver! Away!